Okay, first stop, let's take a look at Overstock.com and Patrick Byrne, right? Because we know he's got a lot of evidence, and they took the court hearing from December 5th and postponed it again. But listen, Patrick has been telling everybody for years and years about naked short selling and about the bubble in the marketplace and the crack in the system. And a lot of people didn't listen to him. I think lots of folks owe this man an apology. Well, first, let's take a look at a video done by Salt TV when they interviewed Patrick prior to them dismissing the case in California. But I think you'll find some of the information that he reveals in here quite interesting. It's worth the watch and the listen. Be back shortly.
So as we said, let's get your response, first of all, to this press release that came out from NASDAQ over the weekend. I guess it was set from your offices, Freddie. You've amended your suit against Goldman Sachs to include charges of racketeering.
That's correct.
That's a rather bold move.
Well, we're nothing if not bold around here. We've been in a 4-year fight to expose Wall Street, to expose things we knew were going on there that were affecting the whole country. And in November, finally, Goldman, after fighting for 4 years, having to turn over some documents, turned over some documents. The judge made them. And within 6 weeks, our lawyers said, we have a RICO action here. And so we refiled the case and went to a hearing before the judge, and it all got approved, and this is now a RICO action.
RICO action, racketeering.
Racketeering, corrupt organization. It's basically the laws that got written in the 80s to allow the feds to go after organized crime. Well, we now can look at what they did, or the lawyers can now look at exactly what they did, and it was organized criminal activity. And there's nothing about RICO that says you got to use a gun. This was a highly organized crime. So, and it's also been part of my theory, to be honest, that we live in an oligarchy. Ultimately, there's two power centers in this country, Wall Street and Washington, D.C. And Wall Street has really gotten Washington, D.C. under their thumb, which 5 years ago people thought I was lunatic to say. I think it's now trivially obvious to everybody. But that means you can't count on Washington. You can't count on the regulators. You can't count on the Senate Banking Committee. You can't count on the New York-based financial press. You know, the only thing that's going to fix this is getting them in front of 12 Americans in a jury room. That's the only thing they can't buy in America is 12 Americans in a jury room.
Do you really believe they're organized criminals, or is this just to get the attention of?
No, this is I absolutely believe this is criminal activity, and it's highly organized. It's very clear from the records, according to our lawyers, what they've examined, that this was a patently criminal and highly organized activity. Well, organized crime, this isn't one of those RICO suits where we're just trying to get attention, or where you file it, then you go on a fishing trip hoping to find something to back it up. We have 4 years of searching and getting the data, and once we had enough of the data, we said, oh, this is a RICO action.
And then today, Goldman has issued this statement in response saying, the motion is the latest attempt by Overstock to shift the blame for its poor share price performance. Your reaction?
My reaction to that is, we made $8 million last year. We'll be announcing our numbers for this year, and I've already said publicly profits are up nicely. So we have a nice, fine little company running here. Goldman just took a $600 billion bailout out of the federal coffers. It took $600 billion to keep them afloat. So that's a funny statement coming from Goldman. From the guys who just took $600 billion to insult our business, that's a funny statement.
When do you expect this case to actually be heard before a jury?
December 5th, it starts of
2011.
This year. Yep. And it's going to be the O.J. Simpson trial of the financial world.
Will it be heard in New York or in Utah?
Actually, in California. In San Francisco. San Francisco.
Okay.
It'll be exciting.
I would imagine it would.
Yeah, I think and I've also said publicly, I will not settle. It's like this. It would be treason for me to settle. It would be like asking a Jewish person, how much would you settle with Hitler for? Well, there's really no number. if Hitler offered $20 billion, no, there's no number that a Jewish person or I would settle with Hitler for. It's philosophers call it a category mistake. How much does a sunset weigh? Well, the sunset doesn't weigh anything. People always want to know, well, what are you going to settle? There is no number. It would be treason for me to settle this case.
And it's got to be a complicated case. It's probably going to take several months to hear.
Actually, it's not that complicated. I don't think it's going. I'm hearing that it's only going to take a few weeks. It's really simple. There's a bunch of emails. There's a bunch of data. It's just presenting it all to a jury. And it's actually not that complicated a case. I think it'll only be a few weeks long.
December of 2011.
Right.
As you say, it will be exciting.
Yeah.